Hello everyone, welcome to the class. Children, today I am not going to teach you anything new, but I will be sharing with you something which is very important and which is going to help you to study well during this lockdown period. I know all the commerce students, some of those who are still waiting for their class 12th business studies subject to be over. It will be helpful to you if you use these tips, if you use these tricks, and I can assure you one thing, that these tricks and these stats that can help you score very good marks in the paper. Now we are fortunate, I say, because you have got time, and you can spend this time by using these stats and tricks in the best possible manner to fetch you very good marks. At times you feel that this subject is difficult. I have been talking about this in the class also. And many of you say that, ma'am, it becomes very difficult for me to comprehend the subject and to memorize it for long and also to present the paper. So as I have got time, I just need all of you to focus on this success mantra which I have been teaching students in the class also. How to score very good marks in business studies. So children, as of now, you all know that this subject paper is of 80 marks. 80 marks. And if I asked you, what is the time duration allowed for attempting this paper? All of you would be saying, ma'am, 3 hours. Yes, that 3 hours is simply, I have written here 3 hours. It is simply the writing time. Apart from this 3 hours, 15 minutes time that is given to you for reading. Now what do you do in that 15 minutes time once you are given the question paper? That is a big question, and how you utilize that time, that is also a big question. Now once we get the question paper, many of us, we use that 15 minutes time in filling the entries, some of us on counting the sheets, some of us looking here and there, but we don't understand the significance of that 15 minutes valuable time which the board has allocated to all of us to utilize it sensibly. Those of who utilize that time wisely, they don't come up with the complaint later on कि मैम पेपर तो छूट गया, पेपर बहुत लेंदी था. For everyone, the number of questions, that is 34 questions which is asked in the business paper, each and every one has to attempt those 34 questions. Some of you are able to complete, others they come up by saying this. Why? Because of the lack of time management. Now the first and the foremost thing, that is why the first tip which I focus upon here is how to use this reading time. Now children, once you get the paper, what you should do is, you should fill in the instructions, whatever is there to be filled in the answer copies within a span of 1 to 2 minutes. And after that, 12 to 13 minutes time, which is the reading time in which you are not allowed to write anything, you should focus your attention on reading the question. Now, which question you should read first? First of all, you should move to 6 marks question, which is the longest question. I have written the first point here. Focus your attention in reading and comprehending 5 to 6 marks question. Now, this is one such question which may be both direct or indirect. When I say direct, what does it mean? That means straight away the question is asked, it may be related to the importance, it may be related to feature, it may be related to limitations, anything. It is that time when you can recall the points which you have studied in your textbooks related with whatever lesson the question has been asked. If it is direct, it is easy, only you need to memorize the point and recall. If it is indirect question, and that indirect question is basically related with case studies, where you need to understand what is there in the question and then you need to answer the question. So before reading that case study question, which is an indirect question, what you should do is, first of all, read the questions which is related with case study. Again, I am repeating. What you should do is, in case of indirect questions, you should read the questions first related with the case study, so that once you read those questions and then you read the case, you will be able to identify or focus your attention upon those hints which can help you in finding answers to those questions which has been asked in the case study. That is why I have written here, underline the hints. You don't have to write anything. You have to only underline the hints given in the case of case study and recall the points to be written in case of direct questions. If you do that, you will be saving much of your time. And you will see that once the writing time starts, it will be easy for you to attempt those questions easily. Let us move on to the second point now. As soon as that 15 minutes is over, then comes the writing time. That means, after you have read the entire question paper, now you have to take decision which all question you have to attempt first. It is always advisable, my dear students, that you should start attempting that 5 or 6 marks question which you have tried to recall during the reading time, and attempt those questions first. If you attempt those questions first, it will be easy for you to save time, and also you will be able to write the answers in the best possible manner, because your mind will be fresh that time. But don't forget, that is why the first point here states, start attempting 6 marks questions first, followed by 5 marks. But if you are attempting 6 marks question, just make it a habit that all the 6 marks questions have to be attempted together. Don't do like this, 1 6 marks, 1 5 marks, 1 4 marks, then you move on to 1 marks. You should not do that. Try to fix your attention and try to attempt all sections of the questions all together. After attempting the longer questions first, then you can straight away move on to the short answer questions. One thing more which is very important in attempting the question is related with time constraint. That is why I have written one point here, and that is related with stick to time constraint. Now earlier also I have focused that the paper is of 3 hours 15 minutes, not 3 hours. Now the number of questions which is asked in the subject is total 34 questions. If you see, 6 marks 3 questions, 5 marks 3 questions, 4 marks 3 questions, 3 marks 5 questions, and 1 mark 20 questions. Now the time distribution should be clear in your mind, how much time you should spend in answering these 6, 5, 4, 3 and 1 mark questions. If you are starting your question with 6 mark and it is only 3 questions of 6 mark, and you have decided, if it is a choice also, what all questions you have to attempt, you need to see that you should not spend 35 to 40 minutes in answering those 6 marks question. That means for every question, you will be getting around 12 to 13 minutes, and that is more than enough. For 5 marks question, not more than 30 to 35 minutes should be taken. Similarly, for 4 marks, 25 to 30 minutes. For 3 marks, 20 to 25 minutes. And for 1 mark, 20 questions, maximum you should take 30 to 35 minutes. Although it is expected that because it is 1 mark question, 1 minute for 1 question, not more than that, because already you all know that 1 mark question is very short answer type question, which may be 1 word to 1 sentence, it may be objective type, it may be multiple choice, and it doesn't take that much of the time. Maximum you can take this much time. And if you sum up this time, you will find that the maximum time which you have devoted in answering the question paper is 2 hours 45 minutes. That means still 15 minutes time is left. Now what are you going to do in this 15 minutes time which is left with you? Don't look here and there in that 15 minutes time and just see whether others have completed the question paper or not. You should and don't be overconfident that yes, I have written everything. You should use that time very wisely in the revision. You should try to revise whatever you have written, each and every line, each and every word, whatever content you have written, whatever questions you have mentioned, all those things have to be checked and verified in a proper manner in that 15 minutes time. And children, I can tell you one thing, that you will find a hell lot of mistakes in that also. And it is that time where you rectify it. If you are not in a hurry, you will be managing your time in the best possible manner, and that will help you in giving you a lot of satisfaction that you have done your paper well. After this, the third point which is related and which is very important in attempting this subject paper is presentation of the answer. Now children, I want to tell you one thing, that business study is one such subject which is basically a theoretical subject. Maximum part of the curriculum in business studies is theory based. If it is theory based, only studying hard, that is not going to help you in achieving good marks, in get grades or good scores. You have to learn how to present your answer in the best possible manner so that you catch the attention of the examiner while he is evaluating your copy. That is something, once the examiner opens your copies and sees your copy, he should feel like reading your copy. That is something which is very, very important. So make it presentable in such a manner. Now how are you going to present the answers in the way that it is eye-catching? I'm going to just let you know with an example how you should write the answer so that you make the examiner happy in a way. For example, there is a question. Write the importance of management. This is the question which has been asked, and this question carries 5 marks. Now, many of you will start answering the question following is the importance of management. My dear students, I just like to tell you that this is not the right way to write any answer and start any answer in this manner. If it is asked, what is the importance of management? You should start your answer with a simple definition of management. I have been telling you in the classes also that each and every concept should be clear in your mind, and you should be able to define it in the most simplest manner so that it is long lasting in your minds. If it is asked management, that means first thing which you should write is related with its meaning. A simple definition. You may recall and you may write. Management is the art of getting work done effectively and efficiently in order to achieve the organizational goals. A very simple definition which includes all its importance in it. And there is a statement associated with it which says anything minus management is equal to nothing. And this statement in itself gives the significance or importance of management. If you write this and then start your answer related with whatever has been asked in the question, you are going to make your examiner happy. Then you start following is the importance of management. And you highlight that word. Now, very important thing, just focus on this aspect which I am trying to explain to you, which many times I have seen in the classes also, students making a mistake. Now, if it is a 5-mark question, children, sometimes in the question itself it is mentioned, write 5 points about the importance of management. Sometimes it's not clearly mentioned how many points you have to write. I have told you, if it is 3-mark question, write 3 points. If it is 5 marks question, write 5 points if it is not mentioned. If it is 6 marks question, write 6 points. That is what is expected in the board exam. Now here, if it is 5 marks, not mentioned in the questions, how many points have to be written? You have to just write 5 points. That is clear in your mind. Now how that 5 points have to be written? One way is we number the points 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That can be done only in the case if you are sure of those 5 points along with whatever is the heading of those points. At times what happens, if we start recalling, we are able to recall only 3 points out of 5, rest 2 I am unable to recall the heading. So what to do? So the best way possible here is, you start writing the points by making some signs like dots or something like this to start your answer with. Here you have to write the heading. For example, if you are writing, following is the importance of management. Management, first point is management helps in achieving organizational goal. That will be the heading. If you have written that heading, management helps in achieving organizational goals, you put a semicolon there after, and you don't start writing the answer from that line itself. You change the paragraph and you start writing the answer from here after completing the heading. You underline that heading, that means that is the highlighted part, so that the examiner can see that it is clear in your mind what you are writing, and then you start explaining the points. In the explanation, one thing has to be kept in mind, that you explain the points with the keywords. There are so many keywords related with the concepts, related with the vocabulary which is used in the field of management, and you all are well aware about it. So you need to use those keywords while explaining the point. Explanation should not be more than 2 to 3 lines, because one thing you have to keep in mind, that word limit is set. You cannot exceed the word limit once you are answering the questions. So the maximum words within which you have to answer the question is 200 words for 6 marks question. So if you keep on elaborating your answer unnecessarily, it makes no sense. In the explanation, you have to focus, writing the keywords, explaining it in 2 to 3 lines. And while you are explaining, basically, what is explained is, if I am writing, management helps in achieving organizational goals. In explanation, I will be explaining how. How and why, answer to that should be the part of explanation. How it helps in achieving organizational goals. So the key word will be by uniting the efforts of different individuals towards organizational goals. So that is the key line, and that you have to highlight, you have to underline, so that the examiner also feels that it is clear in your mind. After completing the first point, you have to leave 1 or 2 lines and then start your next point with a dot, heading, change the paragraph, start explaining the points in 2 to 3 lines with the keywords, focusing on what, why, how, and then ending the point. You have completed the 3 points. Now you feel, I don't remember the heading of the 4th point and the 5th point. Now what to do? Now this is the trick. Here if you are putting the dots, what you need to do is, in the 4th and the 5th point, you need to just give your explanations and end your points. If you write in points 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe you have not been able to memorize the 5th point, you have written only 4. At times, the examiner is having so many copies, he will see that yes, he is writing the headings properly, 2 or 3 points, he will be checking it out, and you may be awarded full marks in the paper. So just focus on that part, which is very, very important. Apart from that, also, there are other types of questions which you need to focus upon, how you have to attempt these questions. The 4th point, that is related with certain types of questions which have to be answered. There are questions related with opinion based. There is a statement given, and in the statement you are asked whether you agree or disagree. If it is agree or disagree in the statement, or how far do you agree with the statement, or do you agree with this statement? So according to the question, the answer has to be written. Yes, I agree. No, I disagree. And then that is not enough. What the students do is at times they simply write yes and no without giving the reason. In such types of questions, always the reason has to be given why you agree or why you disagree. This is something which is very, very important. Another thing that is related with process or steps. It may be related with any concept. Process means procedure. I want to tell you one thing, children. While you are attempting this type of question related with process and steps, procedure is something which cannot be broken. Procedure means sequence of steps in order. That order also cannot be broken. At times the students, they don't remember the order. Process of planning, process of organizing, steps in the process of controlling. These are some of the questions which are asked. Sometimes it is asked, explain any first three steps, or last three steps, or steps after the second step. So these types of questions related with process, generally it is asked. Even if it is 3 marks or 5 marks, if the process related question is there, you have to write the entire process. There you don't have to focus your attention, it is 5 marks question, so I'll be writing only 5 points or 6 points. The entire process, if it takes 7 points or 8 points also, you have to write those 7 and 8 points to complete the process so that you score full marks. But always keeping in mind that the explanation should be brief. Then there are some questions which is related with certain aspects which can be explained with quotes, diagrams, cartoons. If it is not mentioned in the question, then too you need to see that if you write the answer with the quote or explain the answer with the diagram or cartoon, that makes the picture more clear and you don't have to write too much to that. For example, in example we had taken anything minus management is equal to nothing. That is a statement, that is a quotation which can be utilized while we are explaining the importance of management. Similarly, unity of command, if it is asked. Unity of command means command should come from one and only one boss. It should not be different bosses who should be commanding their subordinates. So if in a question related with unity of command it is asked whether it is followed or not followed, you can explain it and you can draw a diagram also or explain the concept of unity. So you can draw it. If there are, you can show here, there are 3 bosses and they are giving command to one worker. So what will happen? Here the unity of command is not followed. So with the help of this diagram you can just explain it to them. There are different ways through which things can be more precise, things can be more clear, presentation will be good. Now one thing more, weightage and units. Now each and every lesson, if you see there are 12 lessons in business studies covered in book 1 and book 2. And different lessons carry different weightage. It should be clear in your mind. How many questions, the number of marks which each lesson allocates, so that while you are attempting the answers at times, if there is any confusion, for example, lesson 1, 2 and 3 combined, it carries 16 marks. You know, lesson 1 is related with the nature and significance of management. Lesson 2 is related with principles of management, and lesson 3 that is related with business environment in class 12th. Now you know these 3 lessons, it contains 16 marks. It contains 16 marks. Now, if you have attempted all the questions and at a place you get stuck, and if you recall that the weightage of these 3 lessons is 16 marks and only 12 marks question of this has been attempted till now. That means 4 marks question is still to be unattempted or has not been attempted. So there can always be a clue for you all. Not to just move around the entire book to find the answer, but to focus your attention on these 3 lessons through which you can easily find the answer. If you get stuck somewhere, that is the simplest way. So the weightage and the units should also be clear. Now 1 markers, that is 20 questions which is asked. I have already told you, you should be specific in answering. The answer should not be very long. At times, in 1 mark question also there is a word which says explain. Explain doesn't mean whatever you know related to the concept you keep on explaining in 1 page. I have told you 1 mark question, if it is to be explained, then too it should not exceed more than 1 line. That is what is the paper demands. The last point, that is related with some of the directive words which you should understand. What directions does it give, and how you have to attempt those questions related with those directions. If in a question these terms are used, name, identify, what, which, if these terms are used, you have to only give the name of the concept. Identify this. If it is a case study based question also, identify means you have to name only. Define. Define means give a simplest meaning. State. At times there is this term used, state. There what you have to do is you have to give the name as well as the meaning along with the example. If it is explain and describe, you have to explain properly, seeing the marks, having its heading and explanation including the main text. Sometimes questions related with comment is there. Comment. The statement is given and the question says comment. How do you attempt that question? Comment means opinion with reason. It means opinion with reason. And you have to just see that you give your opinion related with whatever statement has been asked, and in simplest words you need to give the reason to it. Why do you agree or disagree? These are some of the general tips. If you follow it in answering the paper, you will see that to a great extent you will be able to manage time properly, and you will not have the problem of leaving any question unattempted. And I know all of you are going to come out in flying colors. So children, because still your exam is pending of this subject and this paper, I expect that all of you, those who are working hard, they will use these tips and tricks and will try to do their level best. So best of luck once again to all of you. Good luck. God bless you.